right, welcome to another episode of Old Gold. Thanks for tuning in. For this week's episode, we wanted to bring you to the site of Buxton Mining. Buxton is part of the royalty family here at Chancery Royalty, and it is located in a very beautiful part of British Columbia in Canada, as you can see behind Lester there. So, by the way, the $3 round of financing is still open for Chancery Royalty, so you can hit the link down below for information on that. You might remember Lester from a previous episode. He heads up the operation at Buxton, and we had him on to talk about that project. And we're very proud to say that Buxton has made some great progress since that last episode. So for today, I wanted to show a bit of that progress. So I'll have Lester give a brief overview first of what alluvial or placer mining is for those who aren't so familiar, and how it differs from lode mining. Lode mining is kind of what we envision when we think about mining, but alluvial or placer mining is quite different. We've also got Enrique here with us today. You guys might remember Enrique from previous episodes. The last one we did was actually on site at the Pilar gold mine in Brazil with him and Richard. That was a fantastic episode. Enrique is our new CEO at Pilar, which we're very proud of, and we're always happy to have him on. By the way, we're doing an investor trip to the Pilar gold mine in Brazil in mid-July. I will be there. Of course, Enrique will be there, and pretty much the whole gang will be there. So for anyone interested in that trip, or just interested in investing in the current round of pre-IPO financing at 30 cents a share, please hit the link below for Pilar, and we will get you the info that you need. Okay, so on to Lester. Lester, it's good to see you, buddy.
Yeah.
Could you give us a quick rundown of kind of what alluvial or placer mining is and how it differs from the lode mining that most people typically think of when they think of gold mining?
Sure. So alluvial mining, placer mining, the alluvial actually comes from the lode, and it's eroded and washed away over the millions of years. There were several different movements that happened. The first ones that are probably the greatest are the paleo channels, where the earth shifted and the rivers are actually down below 100, 200, 300 feet, and they contain deep pockets of gold. Sometimes it's a pretty good effort to get down to them. That is probably the richest part of mining. There's the other one that generally follows was the I call it the drift. It was when the mountains were ground off the last time and everything washed down, and it actually is laying on the surface, and it tends to gather in different areas. And some areas contain good constant gold over long and wide areas of ground. Other ones tend to deposit, because the earth was moving, and it was moving in circular motions, and as it was washing, and water follows where it goes, and so it would be on kind of the curve of the wash. And if there was a low spot or it ended there, you could find like hundreds of ounces in a 2 or 3 acre area. At Cranbrook, we have a pretty good setup here. It's mineralized material on the top. It is about anywhere from 3 to 5 feet, and we take an extra foot of the material below just to ensure that we got it. One of the challenges we're having is some of the best gold is tied up in the roots of the trees and the vegetation. So what we do is we strip lightly and get the duff and the top organics off, and then we're washing the roots, and we're having some issues with them, and I'll show you how we dealt with it. But we are doing that, and it's going to increase the gold values of it. Placer mining, you can get into it fairly quickly. Something like this, there's no overburden. It's just a matter of setup, and you're running, and you start getting your gold, and it's pretty constant. We picked this mine up from a previous operator that's moving on to different projects, and he mined great swaths of it. I'm just going to turn here a little bit and show you this area behind us. So that area, you can see how far it went and where he stopped down at the trees. And he stopped down at the trees because his operations were permitted to that point, and he couldn't go any further. So in our investigations and exploration, and we were great to have Raphael here with us from Chancery. He was a great guy, and he's a lot of help. but we flew it with a drone, and then we went on Google Earth, and we realized that the elevation was the same. It was consistent on this whole area. And I'm going to turn again and show you, because I'm kind of standing in the middle of it right now. So there was the other area back there where he started. And from there, it drops down pretty good onto benches that go down to the Moyi River, which are all going to contain gold. But anyways, getting back to this. So this was at elevation 1067. And we noticed that it carried on that way for probably close to 3/4 of a kilometer. And at the end, it pinched off like an arrow. And there is a quarry down there that blasts rock and makes landscape rock, decorative rock, like huge boulder, square blocks that you build retaining walls out of. So my theory, and talking to Raphael and looking at it, is that gold ran that way, and it's pinched off down in that corner. And we're expecting to find a mother lode down there. It's really good. The previous guy that was here, he did a really good job of mining and exploring, and he's tested areas all through here, and he was generous with his information. And so there's a bench down below, and I'm just going to turn this way now, and you'll see where our vehicles and everything are parked. So that second bench down below, he's mined a good portion of that, and he's tested it, and he's found pretty good results there. There's another bench below that one that he also mined, and then he pulled out and he moved to a different area. So what he was doing was he was proving up the whole thing and getting an idea where he could go and how he could permit, because your permits are always in advance, and they are taking a little longer now due to a few unforeseen circumstances with the ministry, but they're working hard to get that straightened out. So with placer, we can get into it. We can get going. We can have, once the operation is running, we have gold in the box every day. So the difference between that and the lode is maybe richer, and sometimes they think it's easier to determine, but it's very, very difficult and hard to do, to the fact that you have a lot of material to move. Your permits are going to take you 4 or 5 years to get in. You'll get your exploration permit, and then you've got to go and spend millions and millions of dollars drilling your ground, proving it up, geologists, assays, 43101s, all those things. And before you can move forward, because of the multiple millions of dollars that it takes to operate a lode. So
we know about all that.
Yeah, you certainly do. So
I think we're
yeah. So once you get rolling, though, you bowl over the placer miners, but it takes a while to get there. So I prefer the placer. I mean, I know it well. It takes excavation experience. That's one of the biggest parts of it, I see. And I have lots of that, and we're mastering catching the gold.
Yeah, well, it seems that you are, Lester, because recently you always send Jeremy a lot of your progress, and then he sends it out to us, to the group. We're on a lot of different group chats for all our projects. And so recently you've had some pretty good success. So can you share a little bit about what's happened recently and some of the success that you've had?
Yeah, so we're basically testing. Bulk testing. I mean, we've got an area that right now that looks pretty good, and we're going to run all of that through there. And then the miner that was here, he didn't believe in digging down deeper. I think he tried it a couple of times and he didn't really find anything. But we went over and dug a pretty good sized hole, and we found some pretty good gold down at the bottom of it. So we're gonna, this next layer below the mineralized material, the gold stuff, and we'll walk through it and I'll show you. It is not very high quality, but below that, there's different materials. You start running into boulders and that again. And so every time you see a different material, it's a different movement that happened. So each movement is carrying something. Some more than others. So some you have to discard if it's not worth taking. And the stuff down below it is probably going to be we need to find bedrock, and bedrock is always a good payday. So, we got to start somewhere. So we're starting at the top, and we've got good mineralization, that's going to make us profitable. And hopefully we can get down below and hit that mother lode.
This is really exciting stuff. And I'm actually learning a lot right now as well, because I don't know a lot about placer mining. I did a little bit of research before we got on this episode today. But yeah, it's really exciting stuff. And what you're doing down there, it looks like you've already hit some success this early in the game, and so I have a lot of confidence that it's only going to get better.
Yeah, we've had a couple of pretty good tests that it's some of it's right around 100 an ounce per 100. Some of it was under, and we had one the other day that was over that. So all in all, I'm expecting that we should be close to that ounce per 100 yards. And this machine that we picked up from Macon, we call it Baby Red. It's the smallest one. These are the machines that you see on Gold Rush, and we wanted to try one out, and Chancery was good enough to help us with that, and so we've got it there, and I'm impressed with it so far. We've had to do some tweaking on it, and a few things, and added a boil box to catch nuggets, and a couple other things. We've made some modifications, and it's just a kind of a tool, because what was happening with the roots, they were backing up, and then they were spilling water out the back. So we just built a big hand rake, and Hal, who's the lead hand that runs the plant, he just goes over there and he rakes them out and pulls them out. And so we're gaining probably 6 or 8 inches of material, and some of the best material. And we're talking about, what's left here is over 1,000 acres. So you add that up, that's quite a volume, and, it's going to increase the pay as well.
Absolutely. Yeah. Now you've just talked about some of the equipment that you've got there on site. And obviously, the equipment when you're doing placer mining or alluvial mining is quite different than what you might do if you have a whole operation of lode mining. So let's talk about that a little bit. Some of the new equipment that you've got in, and maybe we could take a look at some of it.
So you see, there's the excavator, and the excavator is used to pile up the material originally, because there's a lot of boulders in it. And we're going to walk over to the truck, and I'm going to show you that. So the excavator piles it up, and then the wheel loader grabs it, and he brings it over to the feeder, which feeds it into the wash plant. The excavator that you see right now is the same one that piles up the material over there, and he's over right now dealing with the tailings. So that's the excess material that's been washed, and it comes down into the hole, and the water dissipates, and we just got to keep shifting the material around. Eventually, we'll have it set up where the loader will do both of the tasks. So there's the excavator that does that portion. I'm just going to move again. So a little closer there, so you can see the plant is there. And I'll get a better shot of it right away. And then you can see the feeder. So this is one of the key things in placer mining, is that you want to have a constant feed to your material. So that feeder, you dump the material in there. There's a belt that drops it onto that long belt that goes up there. You adjust the speed of the conveyor belt to the amount of feed that you want to go into the plant. So we run the decks full, so that, there's no gaps in them, and the material is constant. And the key to that is the surging. So when you have surging water, and especially have any fine gold, the surging will not allow the gold to settle properly. And it can also, if it's prolonged, like if your machine goes down, or the excavator didn't get over there quick enough, or there was a bit of a screw up, and you're just feeding a hopper, not a feeder. The difference between a hopper and a feeder is the hopper it's just a static, a hopper, like a bowl that fills in. There is one on the plant that I'll show you, but we dump into that with the feeder. So I'm just going to move again, get a little closer. Yeah, so you see the yellow conveyor, that's dumping into the actual hopper of the screen plant. So if we didn't have that feeder there, we would be using an excavator, and the excavator would be dumping into that hopper, and then the water takes it away. And one of the problems with that is then the excavator has to pull away and pick up another bucket and come back around. So you're going to have for sure an uneven feed, and quite possibly the material is going to get washed. It's in there from the previous bucket, and now clear water is running through. So by the time you get around with another bucket full, you've created some surging. It's not going to be a consistent feed, and it causes the gold to move or not settle properly. It's got a hydraulic grizzly on it, so you can see that how the loader dumps it in there, and then it goes through the grizzly bars, and then he will lift the grizzly bars up and get rid of all the big rocks that are on there. Show them the depth. The depth. Show them the depth. And then it goes down onto the decks. I don't know if he got the decks for you or not. I can climb up there and have a look. But you see here, I'm going to show you the tailings pond now. Can you see the pond? Oh, it's beautiful here. It's just brilliant sunshine. It's almost too hot. So you can see the sluices running. And so where that sluice comes out of the plant, I don't know if you can see, but there's 3 dividers in there. And we put a boil box in there, which is a 6-inch box, basically, that's open on the top, and all the material runs into it. And then we have a little pipe running through there that recirculates it. So probably 75% of the gold will get caught in there. And then on the plant, you see this sluice is the secondary sluice. The primary sluice is underneath at the bottom of that ST350. You can kind of see it running at a bit of an angle behind Al there. So those mats, the first 4 feet of those mats will probably be the richest out of the mat situation. We don't clean all the mats every day because there isn't, like I say, 90% of the materials in the other ones. Once a week, we'll go and dump it all. I don't know if you noticed what Al was doing, but this material has a lot of very powdery silt in it, and it'll cement off. So on those riffles there, we take the rake and we just run it through there to make sure that the riffles are clear, that they don't cement over and get hard. So that's a constant issue. You can see the rocks over there coming out. So that's the oversize from the first deck. And then the fines that are coming out here is coming from the second deck. So this water basically just dissipates. And then we've got a secondary pond over here where it drains into. We're very fortunate to have Palmer Lake to draw the water from. It's clear water, and that's the best you can have for placer. So we don't recirculate our water. We're just using plain clear water. Adrian is our VP, and he's not very experienced in placer mining, but he's a real smart business guy. And I want you to talk. I want you to talk about a system we're setting up for our equipment and security for the gold and security for the site. Go ahead, Adrian.
All right. Hi, I'm Adrian Nance. I'm the Vice President of Buxton. I'm up here right now onboarding everybody with a system called Nectar. Nectar is designed to keep track of all the company's assets, including employees. It keeps track of their time cards and the hours worked. It keeps track of the number of hours that are run on all the machines. And then it prompts us to do maintenance and so on and so forth. So it's a pretty slick system. I've also just added a gold room into it, with which is part of our gold room protocol. Basically, as we clean the gold, we take pictures of it on the scale. Once that picture's been taken, it goes into the Nectar system. We then put it into like a secure bag that is sealed, and for the daily gold that is accumulated, and then that goes into a safe, and then eventually it goes into a safety deposit box. So I'm up here right now, getting all of the people on board and getting all the equipment on board with the system, which will go live on July 1st.
Excellent. Well, this is exciting stuff.
It is actually. This is actually my first time on a placer mining operation that's in full swing, and I really like this new shaker box that they've got. Very, very good.
Are you enjoying the process? Are you enjoying being there on the placer mine?
Yes, I am actually. I'm a little overweight, so I'm looking forward to losing some weight over the next little while. Walking around and getting all over the. It's kind of like it's a double win for me.
Well, there you go. Looking at the positive side. All right, buddy. Well, hey, I want to thank you a lot. Is there anything else that you want to show us before we sign off?
I'm just going to show you the cut here. Just give me a second. I'm working my way there. Yeah, there's a good view of the loader and the screener, the feeder rather. Now you push those rocks over, and then we're going to wash those rocks. I got a fire hose, so when you have these rocks that you can't run through, there's gold stuck to them. You can see the dirt on them. So nature, rain will help, and also a fire hose works good. And actually, I had Raphael scrape those rocks, and he found gold on them, and so that was a good thing. So if you see that behind me there, that goldish brownish material, can you see that? Yeah, okay, so that's the mineralized material. And you see all the roots and everything that's in there. So this last movement, when it came through, this stuff is like very, good gold bearing material. The problem, like I say, is the roots and the sticks and things like that. But Hal's devised a tool just to go in and manually remove them. And you can see over here where the loader's loading. And so the material was all piled up with the excavator. And then the loader goes in and digs it and dumps it into the hopper here, the feeder. So yeah, that's about it for it's. It's not really a complicated operation, so it's pretty simple, easy to get into, and quicker returns.
Yeah. Well, exciting times, isn't it, Lester?
Oh, it is. It's very exciting. It just keeps you pumped all the time. Yeah, I love it.
Well, we're very happy that you're part of the Chancery royalty family, and we're very proud that you're into production now, and you're really making some very quick progress, which I guess is the whole point of placer mining. So it's great to see you on site. It's really exciting. I think it gives the viewers a really good chance to kind of get a virtual site visit so they understand what's going on. But you've got a beautiful site there in British Columbia, so at least you've got beautiful surroundings.
Yeah. So, and just on another note there, with the funding from Chancery, we closed on the Buxton Creek property, and we'll be getting that transferred over shortly. And
Fantastic.
we're gonna be heading up there next, so maybe we can do another podcast up there.
Yeah, that'd be great to see another property. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Lester, I want to thank you for your time. I know you're really busy, so I don't want to keep you too long, but I want to thank you for your time. And I know it's hot out there, so thanks for thanks for standing out there and holding the phone for so long.
Yeah, no problem. Appreciate being invited. Thank you very much, guys. Yeah, you bet, Enrique.
Right.
Well, see you soon.
Thanks, Lester.
Bye.
Thanks, Enrique.
Yeah.
And that is the end of our episode for today. We're going to sign off. So until next week, everybody, Old Gold signing off.